Petri is joining us today in the studio. Petri, you've come down from a teaching weekend up north, and you've brought a panel with you today. Tell us a little bit about this panel.
Well, this is a panel I made just a few weeks ago. It's called Childhood Dream, and it's there's no particular allegory behind it. It's just some imagery which came into my mind, and it's the thinking behind it really was to do something which would appeal to children and excite children about stained glass, because we need to see the next generation of stained glass artists coming through. So this is sort of my minuscule attempt to towards that end. But yeah, it's a little lad riding his scorpion through an enchanted forest, and which little child wouldn't like to ride their scorpion through a forest?
Oh my goodness, I wish I had a scorpion when I was a kid that size. It beats a bike any day of the week.
Absolutely. Some new techniques in this, just experimental techniques, which worked out quite well, which I thought might be of interest to folk.
Yeah.
So this area here, where we've got these slightly autumnal, change of season oak trees, I did those by using a vinegar mat, and while the matting was still wet, I sprinkled sea salt on with a little salt grinder, and as it dries, you get this lovely little sort of dappled light effect, which works quite well for forest trees. So
fantastic.
I thought I'd give it a little demonstration.
Yeah, please do.
Of how it works.
Please do.
So this is literally just vinegar and glass paint. I've used a mixture of a 50-50 mix of Bista brown and black. I just find it gives a nice warm black. A lot of it's going to get, you can't really see any colour that would come through anyway because I'm quite dark glass.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just my go-to mix for paint. There's no gum arabic there. It's literally just the vinegar.
Yep.
And the glass paint.
Do you ever put any gum arabic in with your vinegar mixtures or not?
No, I only use gum arabic with water.
With water, yeah.
Yeah. So it goes on quite
densely.
Quite thick, yeah.
Yeah.
The badgering's not, you don't have to be too precise because it's going to get all muddled with the salt. We just sprinkle some salt on.
So this is sea salt?
Yeah, from a grinder.
Yeah.
So I guess the grains come through somewhere between 1 millimetre and 2 millimetre. Quite coarse.
Look close to see how. So it's sort of quite sparsely. It's not covering the entire space. There's gaps between each granule of salt. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And the nice thing about salt is it absorbs moisture.
Yes.
So it's not just dropping something on the glass, on the wet paint, you're actually dropping something which will take moisture out of the paint, and it creates a nice effect when it's dry.
Yeah.
So we'll just leave that to dry for a bit. So this is just water in the pot here.
Yes.
So there's vinegar in the paint and water in the pot, just to dilute it a bit further.
Yeah.
You really don't need much salt, it doesn't take much grinding. So here on the trees, where I've got highlights, I just did a little bit of extra picking out with a stick, just random patterns, so that we're sort of getting a sense of the light part of the dappling where we want it at the top of the canopy work, and a bit darker in other places.
Yeah.
So I'll just pick a few of those out. And then you just need to rub the salt off. So the little picked out lines, they sort of blur in with the salt, where the salt grains are gone.
Do you quite often use the fleshy part of your fingers or your palm of your hand to rub back paint?
If I'm doing something a bit more refined, like a face, if I'm trying to, say, recreate a heat and butter and bane type of paint texture with little pores that appear in the paint, then
Yes.
I use the ball of my hand.
Yes.
But for something like this, yeah, just a finger will do. You don't get a very even removal of paint with your finger. You get a much more even removal with this part of your hand.
Yes.
But an even texture isn't really that important here.
That's really nice and an unusual texture. If I just saw that, I wouldn't necessarily know how that was created.
Yeah. Well, it's just something I thought I'd give it a go, and it seemed to work. So, yeah. And then on the second paint, once that's fired, you can add some deeper tones where you want them. Yeah, so you get a sense of how that goes on a lighter matte. And you can't really see where the scratching is. You just get a sense that there's more of a highlight here and more of a highlight here.
Yes.
It all sort of blends together. But then I did a second technique to further enhance the sense of a dappled light coming through trees.
Yes.
By using stain on the back. And there on the wet stain, I gave it a squirt with this fixative.
Wow.
And that just gives well, I'll demonstrate it, a real dappled stain effect, which again looks quite nice for autumnal leaves or leaves on the turn.
And have you used fixative before with your painted work?
No, this is the first time.
Wow.
So it's all experimental, just having a go to see what would work on this panel. A lot of my autonomous panels, I do try out new things, and some are successful, some aren't. But that's the nice thing about glass; you can rub it off if it doesn't work. You know.
Yeah.
You can have a go, be bold.
Well, that's the thing. Sometimes happy accidents are the best discoveries, aren't they? When you just kind of play with paint, mark making, see what happens.
Absolutely, and mistakes as well. It might be a mistake on that particular project, but you know, if you lodge it in your mind, that's something untoward happened. You can then utilise that in another application or another panel, as long as you, just recognise that something didn't quite go the way you thought it would. You know, there's opportunities in the future to use that.
So what other kind of techniques do you use to create marks? Do you use things like feathers, for example, or sponges?
I've got a roller, like one of those small mini rollers that I use for radiators, and I wrap cling film around that. And if you roll that very lightly over wet paint, you get this lovely crinkled effect.
Interesting.
And I've used bubble wrap as well in the past, just dabbing bubble wrap on wet paints.
Yes.
And that gives a nice dotty effect as well.
Yeah.
And it changes completely when you start rubbing it away with your finger. So, you know, left on its own, it's nice, but then you can also tweak it a bit by abrading it with your hand or with some brushes.
So do you have a go-to stain, Petri, that you use for the majority of your work?
I've got several stains. It really depends on the colour I'm going for, and the glass I'm using as well. I find that often the blue flash glasses don't seem to take the stain quite as well as other flash glasses. I don't quite understand why.
Yes. And you apply the stain on the glass side rather than the flash side, yeah?
Yes, yeah. So I always paint on the flash side and stain on the back.
And when you apply stain, do you allow the stain to dry for 24 hours before it goes into the kiln, or does it just go in wet?
I don't find it needs 24 hours. You can sort of see when it changes colour and it's dry.
Yes.
Just because I use water-based, I don't use oils.
Yes.
So it dries fairly quickly. Just give it the lightest of badges because I want to keep it quite wet. I don't want. Sometimes when you over badger things, it dries it out as well.
Yes.
But I want a nice amount of moisture left, and it's just the tiniest little burst, like that.
Wow, again, that is a very unusual texture that I wouldn't immediately know how that was achieved if I hadn't seen you do it.
Now I've not tried this with paint. You might get some nice effects with paint as well, but I've not really gone down that route.
And have you tried other solvents or vinegars or?
I've spritzed vinegar just with a brush before now, and that gives some nice sort of spidery effects.
Yes.
I quite like that.
Yeah. I find that spider effect, yeah, you get that with methylated spirits and vinegar and ethanol. But this is a completely different effect where you're not getting the kind of spidery legs.
No, and it's a bit more controlled. You know, there is a bit of variation in size of the splashes, but you know, for tree dapple light, it's a good tight texture.
So this area here, I can see these lovely kind of autumnal colours happening here. So what is this? Is this stain here, or how are you getting that kind of change in hue?
Well, it's a flash turquoise piece of glass, and actually it's a flash blue piece of glass, this one. And I've etched it away to different degrees in different areas, so you get quite a mixture of blues. Then I've stained the back to turn the blues into greens, and I've used various stains, mix the stains up as well, so you get even more variety. And these little discrete areas where it's almost like a brownie orange, that's my wire wool mix dissolved in vinegar, and that we fire at paint temperature. And yeah, just gives more variety in the array of hues. It's incredible to think that this is a blue flash glass, because there's no hint of blue in here at all. Yeah, you have to really search to try and see some of the blue. There's a tiny bit of blue coming through there maybe, but even that's got some stain on it, and it's not perfectly blue. The actual blue which I've used is this blue here. It's the same piece of glass. Yeah. And it's a Saint-Just blue. I think they call it denim blue. It's not like the cobalt blue. It's a much quieter blue. Yeah. That's a very strong kind of navy cobalt blue, isn't it? Yeah. So will you be showing this panel anywhere? Are you planning on doing any more shows? Because you had a one-man show earlier on in the year or last year now at Ely Cathedral. Yeah, I would love to. I haven't really thought about that yet. I'll probably be keen to get a few pieces together and then look for a venue maybe, or see if someone's interested in displaying them. Because I think a lot of people have seen most of that previous generation of woodland scenes, so it'd be nice to get some new things out there. But I'm still making them at the moment. Fantastic. Petri, this has been wonderful. Thanks so much for sharing this with us today. Those techniques are really lovely, and I think we'll all be experimenting with them, getting our fixative sprays out to try and recreate those lovely textures in paint. Wonderful. Thank you.